Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Bashem Rakakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Mosai is only coming to deliver the elect among Israel. I'm going to entitle this video, it's going to be short. At least the spirit jump on me. Simply Ecclesiasticus 48 and 10, or 48 and verse 10. So you see there in the red letters, the 10th verse, and then I clicked on context. So we're going to read the 10th verse, and then we're going to read from the 7th verse to the 13th verse. So it says, who has ordained for reproof in their times to pacify the wrath of Yahweh's judgment before it break forth into fury, and to turn the heart of the father unto the son, or you can say the heart of the fathers unto the sons, and to restore the 12 tribes of Jacob or Israel. Let me read that again. Who hath ordained for reproof in their times to pacify the wrath of Yahweh's judgment. It was talking about prophets. Overall, it's talking about the prophets. If the Most High sent the prophet, they rebuked Israel or even another kingdom, and they repented, the Most High would bring back his judgment. If they did not repent, the Most High would proceed on with the judgment. So we hear the prophets of the Most High, we're condemning this system, and the people are not, the only ones that are waking up are the certain Israelites, but the majority of them that wake up and they become teachers are prophets. The ones of you that out here and you teach this, you learn to eat the roll and go out and teach the sons of Israel, and you do it and you praying in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Seems like a lot of these Israelites don't want to use the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh's name, or his beloved son's name, which is Yahweh Shai. I even noticed that that's a trend right there. I even noticed that even the so-called, what he used to be called High Priest Kazak, he said Christ this and Christ that. This the Bishop Jessup, he had, the name of his organization was One Body in Yahweh Shai, and he just took it down. I believe it was maybe inside of this year, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't watch him that much, but anytime I see a video, I remember his, the YouTube page was One Body in Yahweh Shai. And where do you think he learned that from? He learned that from the leadership of the IUIC, because he didn't just figure it out. The Spirit didn't come to him and tell him that's my name. He started, and he said that on Vocab's show when he had the interview with Vocab. He said that Vocab said, you originally part of the IUIC, and he said yes. So where do you think he got the true name of the son from? He got it from so-called Bishop Nate, General Nathaniel God, whatever he is. He changes up. He'll say ancient Hebrew is Ebonics, Lashon Kodash is Ebonics, but then one of his names is that he used recently is General Nathaniel God, which is according to what he says, that's Ebonics. Nigga brew. Remember, he said, because a nigga jump up and say, Yahweh. So these guys are playing with the name of the Most High. So what did the Most High do to Bishop Jessup? He took the name from him. The reason why he took the name, he opened up his page and he actually deleted the name of Yahweh Shai. So now it's just one body Dallas Israelites. But now he teaches that, we're teaching too much hate, and Gentiles can make it. Oh, he said there was no such thing as any miracle. The Lord never performed a miracle. The Red Sea. I mean, you can watch it on the interview that he had with with vocab. So, the Most High gives you this precious knowledge, this mystery, and and you throwing it away, and the Most High takes the rest of it. Watch how fast this guy goes downhill. He ain't going nowhere. And the people that followed him, a week before he changed the name, everybody was calling on him Yahweh Shai. The week when he took the name off, nobody had a problem with it. Maybe a couple of them. When a week before he said Gentiles can make it, he was saying this is only for Israel. And Edomites are the white, so-called white people. Now he says that Israelites that out there teaching are really the Edomites. But you still got people, like I said, you got a lot of, it's always like that. It's always like that. I remember at One West, you had a handful of guys that kind of grew up in the knowledge, learned the knowledge, and they became teachers. Then you got guys, the majority of the people, certain men, women, children, and families, they just stuck in limbo. They don't, none of the men become teachers. None of the men get leadership positions. They're just like churchgoers, which I call zombies. And it's always like that. There's always a leader, then a second command, maybe a third and fourth in command. And then you just got the rest of the people just waiting for somebody to tell them. I call that zombie activity. So let me read this again, the 10th verse. Who was ordained for reproof in their times? It's talking about the prophets. The prophets come to reprove the nation. And we don't just come to reprove Israel. We come to reprove any system that's set up. The proof of that is Jeremiah chapter 1 and 4 on down. A prophet to the nations. We're not just a prophet to Israel, we're a prophet to the nations. So, we prophesy against this system, and the leadership, the government is not acknowledging us as prophets of the Lord. So ultimately, what's going to happen to this place? It's going to be utterly destroyed. And it's talking about the continent known as North America, the USA. Now, I was listening to, we were listening to so-called Bishop Nate Saturday. After we leave camp, he's doing his thing. And we're listening. He's hitting certain scriptures. He's on point. Then he says, what did he say? He said, the America, that's Babylon. And he says Europe will be destroyed, like all of France will be destroyed. All of Europe. There's not going to be no more Europe. Well, where you going to put the people at? If you destroyed all them lands. Russia is part of Europe, so that's going to be destroyed. That's a lot of land out there, man. So we're going, what? What did this guy just say? That the Most High is going to utterly destroy Europe? And he said Rome. And in the previous video, he said Rome, meaning, Rome and Italy is going to be destroyed. So, he said Europe. So Italy, the boot is going to be gone. Where's that in the scriptures? It says in Isaiah chapter 13, I'm a little all over the place. It says to destroy the whole land, singular, singular, singular. This guy he'll be on point. He'll be hitting scriptures, and, the stuff that he learned from One West. He'll be regurgitating it masterfully. Then all of a sudden he turns left. So you got to make sure you have 100% truth. Now, going back to former high priest Kazak, he said that the sign is wrong. The sign is wrong. He said Reuben should be the top tribe, and we don't even know who we are. We know we're Israelites. We don't know if we're Judah. We don't know. We don't know because there was so much mixing. No, when Judah came over here to serve slavery, they wasn't mixing with the other tribes because they was in America. The northern kingdom tribes, they were in South America. So there was no mixing. There's no mixing. Things happen when you got Jake. Now, you got the tribes coming together. You got a little mixing going. So he made the statement that we don't know who the tribes are because they're all mixed. So, to go to one place, you can have some Judah, some Benjamin, some Levi, a little bit of Gad. So we don't know who the hell we are. All we know we're Israelites. That means anybody can roll up, they look at the sign, and says, well, I can be one of the tribes. And then that means you got to take the sign down because you're going to offend people. And then he said, Revelation, well, he said that Yahushua went off. He said Revelation was off because where it says Manasseh, Dan's supposed to be there. Well, if that's the case, if anybody should know, shouldn't the son of the father know? These guys are talking about, what about Dan? Well, ask Yahushua. Yahushua did not mention Dan. He did not mention Dan. So there's a lot of confusion out there, which makes you guys stumbling blocks. You're a stumbling block. And the Most High, and you have become a stumbling block because you walked into a stumbling block. That's why it's important not to play with this word. That's why we say, we're the only ones that say we got 100% truth. Let's go into the grape doctrine. You had Captain Desariac say, I'm hearing this from, I think it was Sarnetta or somebody, that Captain Desariac said that Deuteronomy 22:28, it goes hand in hand with, what is that? Exodus. I always get them confused. Leviticus and Exodus. Exodus 21 or 22 verse 16. Let me go to that. Let me try. Let me go to 22 and 16. Okay, yep, I was right. Sundry laws. So Captain Zazariak says Deuteronomy 22 verse 28 is the same precept as Exodus 22 verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not engaged to be married, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Entice doesn't mean grape. It means to wrap to her. We know because we all did it. And when you meet a chick in the club or wherever, there's a countdown to when you're gonna, do what you got. There's a countdown. If I meet a woman, it's a countdown. How long is it gonna take for me to, I'll kiss her and rub on her and stuff like that, smack her booty or whatever. But how long is it going to take me to actually get her in the house and get into bed? So you push the envelope, you entice her, tell her how good she looked, you get a number, you take her out a couple of times. That's all part of the enticement, which leads into having sex. Deuteronomy 22 verse 28 is you take the woman, whether she likes it or not. That's the two different words, man. And why would the Most High put that same law down there twice? And entice has nothing to do with the word ainah or Thepas. So this is why they can't say they got 100% truth. Well, I want you guys to really, really explain it. Well, you're going to have to really, really come up with $50,000, and I'll explain it to you. Well, I just did. So where am I? Let's come on back. Let's come on back to the subject, right? I'll read it one more time. Who was ordained for reproof in their times? What do? We reprove, right? We exalt, we rebuke, we reprove, we reprove. We teach. Anytime we talk about this system, the wickedness of this system, and how this system is ultimately going to be destroyed. And we're right, Matthew 24, wars and rumors of wars. There's wars going on all over the place, man. It took, what, two weeks, and that's a full-scale war. Israel against the Palestinian people. They're saying Hamas is against the Palestinian people, which don't have an army. I was watching CNN this morning, and even CNN reporters are kind of like leaning on the side of the Palestinians. What's going on here? It's blatant. It's blatant what this other nation is doing. What the small hat nation is doing. This is what you call a genocide. When you kill civilians, because the Hamas and Hezbollah, they're either out there fighting or they're dug in deep. They hide. That's what it's. Hamas is a so-called terrorist organization. Well, they don't fight conventional wars because they're small in numbers. So who's getting caught up in the middle of this? The civilians or the Palestinians. And on the side of Israel, you got Israel's citizens that don't want to have nothing to do with it. They're getting caught up in this thing too. But this is all prophecy. You're going to ask some people, what side do you take? If you're going to ask me, I take the side of the Most High. I take the side of prophecy. This is nothing but the Russia-Ukraine war. The drug cartels down in Mexico, South America, the gang banging in the United States. This is all prophecy. Uproars of the people. This is the time to read 2nd Ezra chapter 15, 2nd Ezra chapter 16. As a matter of fact, 13, 14. Chapter 11 and 12 took place already. You got some guys trying to break down 2nd Ezra chapter 11 and 2nd Ezra chapter 12. And they say, well, that verse right there is talking about America. The eagle was on fire. That's America. Nope. That was the ancient pagan Roman Empire. Both of those chapters took place already. Just like I said before, Daniel chapter 11 took place already. Daniel chapter 9 took place already. Daniel chapter 8 took place already. We're still in the middle of Daniel chapter 2, Daniel chapter 7. So let me read this again. I'm rambling a little bit. You be rambling, inside joke. Who has ordained for reproof in their times? Anytime the Most High sent a prophet, the Most High sent a prophet to reprove a nation, to pacify the wrath of the Lord's judgment. And how does the Lord's judgment pacified? Because the people, like Nineveh, at first, they fasted, they humbled themselves, but ultimately they were destroyed before it break forth into fury. Now, what's coming to your mind? Malachi 4, right? And to turn the heart of the Father unto the Son, and to restore the tribes of Jacob. Not the nation, not the whole world, but the tribe of Jacob, which are the Israelites. So now, let me read it from the 7th verse, and I'm going to read down to the 13th verse. Who who heardeth the rebuke of Yahweh in Sinai? You know what that's talking about? Talking about Egypt, then going in through the Red Sea, going into the 40 years in the wilderness. But who was rebuked? The Egyptians were rebuked. The leadership of the Egyptian Mizraim. And in Horeb, the judgment of vengeance. Who anointeth kings to take vengeance, and prophets to succeed after him. The prophet is more important than the kings. When we come back in the kingdom, we're gonna be kings. There ain't gonna be any need for prophets. The prophets are just gonna get their reward. They're gonna be sitting on thrones, crowns on their head, got slaves working for them. This is truly going to be a change of worlds. It says, who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire. Who's that talking about? It's talking about Elijah. It's going to tell you that as we read down. And in a chariot of fiery horses. Now, we know it's not talking about horses. We're talking about a so-called UFO, UAP. Let me jump down to I'm going to read the 10th verse again. Who has ordained, who was ordained for reproof in their times, to pacify the wrath of Yahweh's judgment before it break forth into fury, and we have to, by the spirit of his mouth and the brightness of his coming. I'm quoting 2 Thessalonians 2, and to turn the heart of the father unto the son, and to restore the tribes of Israel, of this tribes of Jacob. That's Malachi 4, 5 and 6. So who did that? It was Abba that did that. That's why, vocab is going after the one Westers, because we're the only group that has the truth. Them Old Testament Israelites, they don't know what's going on. They're completely lost. They don't know anything about, they don't even know about Old Testament prophecy. In order to understand the Old Testament prophecy, you got to understand the New Testament, the whole book. Them Israelites, the Benjamin people, in order for you to be a citizen, you got to fight in any war of the land of Israel. And men and women fight in wars. Men and women fight in wars. Goes against the laws of the Most High. Only the men 20 years old and above fought in the war. And if they were afraid, they didn't have to fight. They did that among Gad. If certain Gadite men didn't want to fight, they said, okay, you don't got to fight. They showed you that in the movie Little Big Man. Great movie. Starring Dustin Hoffman. Had Chief Dan George in the movie. The old Gadite. It said, blessed are they that saw thee and slept in love, for we shall surely live. Elias, or Elijah, 12th verse, it was, who was covered. A chariot doesn't have a cover over it. So the chariot was what? A UFO. He was abducted in the UFO. It said Elias it was, who was covered with a whirlwind, and Ecclesiasticus, which is Elijah, was filled with his spirit. So that fiery spirit that Elijah had, that same spirit was on. Not talking about Elijah, the spirit of Elijah went into the spirit of Elisha. It was his power that he had. He was just like, which, I told Ariel, that's you, which they never taught that. It was at the dedication of the Bridgeport School. It was myself, it was Marshall, and it was Ariel. And I said, Ariel? I said, you know who you are? He looked at me like I had three heads. I said, you're Elisha. And he had a big smile on his face, and Mo said, Tahar, you shouldn't have told him that. You're going to make his head bigger than what it is now. But he never taught that. He never he never, you know. So now what they told me, that they told Abba that he was Elijah coming back. And when you got them old tapes of Abba speaking, his main reader was Ariah. He said, let me get the young man to read it for me. He was born in the truth. So, but we'll see. You know, you're going, you got to prove that he ain't, you know, blah, blah. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to see. It's also, it goes on to say, and Ecclesiasticus, which is Elisha, was filled with his spirit. That doesn't mean that Elijah's spirit went into the spirit of Elisha. It just means he had that there's a precept, if anybody want to look for it, where it says when Moses was about to die, and when he died, the spirit of Moses went into the spirit of Joshua. I mean, he put that leadership spirit in him. He didn't put that wasn't Moses' spirit going into Joshua. Meaning, he put a spirit on him. Most High put a spirit on you. Scripture saying, then they waxed bold in the spirit. Jehu, when he became king, I forget who anointed him. I hadn't read that story in a while, but I'm positive it was Jehu. He said, when you go and anoint this man, he said, you better run. As soon as he got anointed, the Most High put a fear spirit on him. Somebody help me out. I'm not going to look for it. So it says, and Elisha was filled with his spirit whilst he lived. Wait a minute. That shows you that a spirit can't be in two bodies at the same time. Because he asked for a double portion of his spirit. He said, give me double that power. He was not moved. Elisha, he was not moved with the presence of any prince. The prophets moved. The kings let the prophets do what they want to do because the spirit was working through them. What happened with the 50? The captain in his 50, the king said to arrest Elijah, and Elijah was like, look, man, fuck you. He said, if I be a prophet of the Lord, may fire come down from heaven and destroy you and your 50. Boom, that happened as soon as he said it. Second group came. And the third group, the captain was nice. And Elijah, said, okay, I'll come. But we're over kings. And me and Lahab years ago had an argument on that. Lahab was saying, well, the king is more important than, I said, nope. I said, the prophet. I said, the prophet is more important. We had a back and forth on that. We used to have a lot of arguments. I used to question the heads over me all the time, man. And it was like a headache to them because I would ask them these deep, like a certain brother I know used to ask me questions because you get put on the spot, So I would be around on 44th Street in Broadway, building 1515 building, 44th and Broadway. Right by there, we would be around the mailbox. There's a mailbox there. Then there was like a shop next to it. There was a Moabite on the shop, and you know what she used to do? She used to sell like Carvel ice cream. She used to give us free ice cream. She said, "This is for you. This is for all you, man. This is ice cream." That could have been Ruth coming back, trying to get a blessing. But we used to stand around, and they'd look at me. They said, "Oh no, here comes Tahar. You're gonna ask these old hard ass questions, And that's the mindset you're supposed to be in. What does the Lord say? I believe that's in Deuteronomy 6. It says, when you go among your neighbor, talk about the law. Teach your sons the law. Always don't conversate about nothing but the law, to keep it in your mind. So these zombies in these schools, that's why when Comfy said, I'm the God sent comforter, I went to Israel, we found out he never went to Israel. And that shit was all made up. Because they were, watch the interview with the former ICGJC members, and they were speaking from the heart. They were speaking from the heart, I pray the Most High bless them brothers, and that they are the elect, and that they get their ass out there and start teaching, all right? Because y'all got back in the teaching spirit, including and especially Ivan, the Terrible, whatever his name is. He said, you want to have a debate? We're going to show you. That spirit rose up back in him. See, when you left, you should have kept teaching. Because if I was at that school and I came back from Israel and I'm the God sent comforter, I would have probably did an Irish exit, looked that up, meaning said I got to go to the bathroom and never come back. Or I would have left, or I would have cursed him. I said, what? I said, what? Elijah, the God said, who? The what? Then they would have kicked me out, It says, I'm finishing. I know I went long. Elisha was filled with the Spirit whilst he lived. He was not moved with the presence of any prince, any king. King couldn't tell him what to do. Neither could any bring him into subjection. The prophets go their way. They go there. They going in the spirit. If you try to stop them and make them do this, and you got to come to count, hey, when they kicked us out of the house of David, that was the best thing that they can do. Because about a month and a half prior to that, they had a bunch of meetings. Every time we were getting the signs together to go out and speak, oh, y'all got to come down. We having an emergency meeting. I said, okay, go down there. Next week we having another emergency. So I said, look, motherfucker, we ain't going out there speaking. So I bucked up to what they said. And all them demons are back in the world, or not teaching or whatever. They know that they're Israel, but they're not out there on the highways and the byways. The only one among them is Bishop Nate, and he's going off. So he was a part of that wicked. That's why we get on him so hard, because what he did and among them was wicked as hell, man. So when they so-called kick, y'all got to get out. So when they so-called kicked us out, we just said we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. And then they had a bunch of them brothers come up to Connecticut to try to get us to come back. And what fucked up Yasha is, he said, yeah, we're gonna set up a meeting. We're gonna have you guys back. And then when they were leaving, I said, shalom, okay, we'll see you at the meeting. And I said, oh, and by the way, don't call us, we'll call you. You know what that means? That, go fuck yourself. And we flourished, and they withered away. It says, no word could overcome him, and after his death, his body prophesied. Now, a good example of that, too, is Samuel. That means, too, that the prophets of old that died, they're prophesying after their death, because the prophecies are coming to pass. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, I'm going down the list, Joel, they're all dead, but they're back. Everything is reincarnated. So the spirits of the prophets are subject unto the prophets. And vocab can't see it, because number one, vocab's an Edomite. But the wicked will not understand. Anyway, I went a little long. I wasn't planning to, but that's how the spirit rolls. With that, I'm going to say shalom.